It's a brother Bolo for you now. We here with another one. I want to focus on this reaction, ladies and gentlemen, on Miss Daisy Mackenzie. You understand that was a mystic sensation last night. Now, what I want you to do is give a keen ear and a keen listen to everything she has to say. Alright? Don't miss anything. Listen carefully. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. You understand? I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright? So, check this out. Let's go.
I listened to your opening and I listened to what Melting Pot was saying and Pinky. And the SSL situation is just a rinse and repeat because it happened in the 90s and certain safeguards were put in place to prevent it from happening again. It held up to a certain extent, but then you got an administration that nobody could hold accountable, an administration that was more about their friends and cronies, their cronies getting ahead, that they put them ahead of the needs of the Jamaican people, and they put them ahead of checks and balances. And because there are no checks and balances, you have this kind of government, run amok. But before Rattigan come in, I would love Rattigan to expound on the corruption, the current situation in Jamaica now, and given that the Prime Minister appointed his friend at the top of the FID, how is that going to affect the corruption, Jamaica's rating on the corruption indices? So when you come in, I wanted to address that so everybody can understand it. But we are looking at
for all the girls who don't fully trust their boyfriend, here's something better. Gut feeling something's off, don't
a government know who's trafficking in personalities and not in policies. Because you're talking about the school bus situation. Let's look at the school bus situation. A bus with 100,000 miles on it is a bus that people park up. When you look at Jamaica's road infrastructure, can it accommodate those buses? So if you're saying you have these buses, somebody said recently they went to the Parliamentary, they allowed 15 years old vehicles in the country. That it depending on what vehicles. A car I can understand, but a bus that you're gonna put children in, that is riskier in my opinion, and I stand corrected on that. When you look at when you look at the structure of the cabinet right now, it's a cabinet made up of persons whose names come with asterisks and question marks. When you look at the Integrity Commission report, the one from last year said that the Prime Minister was under investigation. 4 years running now, his statutory declarations have not been certified and cannot be certified. And they said then that 2 more persons were added to the 6, making it 8 persons that are under investigation for illicit enrichment. And they're going into an election cycle, and nobody can know the names of those persons. Why should they be trusted? Because they are basically saying to the Jamaican people, no matter what, just vote for the people who have question marks by their names, you can see that when they got into politics, they didn't have anything but everybody is big and fat and everybody is fat, no cut puss, and everybody rich beyond measure. But the systems and the infrastructure is still broken, and they will come out and say, oh, we spend the most money. They didn't tell a lie there. They did spend the most money. But on what? Where? Because it was the Auditor General who came out and said there's $1.3 trillion unaccounted for, and no investigation into that. You have the Ministry of Health, over $750 billion. You have the Ministry of Education, over another $700 billion. And you see the broken systems, and they're saying to you, we are doing stuff, we are working, this is the best government ever. But the people are saying what you say and their reality are not matching up. So what is it? Are they supposed to believe their reality or believe what you are telling them? Because Are the pictures of the hospital persons lying on hospital floors, sitting on hospital chairs in the hospital, are those a figment of people's imagination? Are those situations real? So when you say you spend the most on healthcare, where is the result? How can anybody? What can we see? At the corner, Beryllium Regional, what did you have a situation where you open the suite for the executives, but you don't open the room, the wards for the patients. So the executives are comfortable, the CEO and all these persons are comfortable, but the patients who they're supposed to be serving don't have anywhere to go. And you're going to say, we are doing our best. How can that be? And what are you saying to the Jamaican people? And because, you brought up SSL and Usain Bolt, and a lot of people are having second thoughts about coming out and defending.
Usain Bolt, listen to this.
Up for him, and given that he has been given this quote unquote ambassadorship, I don't know what that means, because by himself he is, you mention his name, they know he's from, and we know what he did. But I tell you why people are, many people are second guessing, their support of him, is that they feel that he abandoned all those other victims like himself. They don't have the notoriety, they don't have the kind of money that he had invested, but it's nonetheless, they are victims. There was one lady who invested $60 or $80 million, and she lost, and she's in her 80s, and so they feel abandoned by him, because when he was speaking up and speaking out, they sort of felt like, he was a victim, so they felt, the camaraderie that he will be there, and when he speaks out, then something will happen for them. If it happens for him, then it will by extension happen to them, and that is not the case. So many people believe that he really sold out to curry favor with the government at the expense of all those other victims. So, since nobody's hearing anything about the SSL investigation, what is going to happen, how are the victims going to be compensated, I'm going to hear about one person. And it is rather unfortunate that is so. But such is the level of corruption in the country. And they cannot say there's no corruption, because corruption is eating Jamaica alive. Billions of dollars are lost each year to corruption in Jamaica. And it's corruption at the highest level. When you have a prime minister who, a few short years ago when he started politics, he owed student loan. And now, I'm not saying he should still be in the position that he was then. What I'm saying is, his wealth is not commensurate with his earnings. It's obvious.
Gentlemen, it is obvious. It is very obvious that his wealth, compared to what he was earning all those years in government, it is not adding up. All the investments, everything he's talking about, just the eye test alone tell you that it's not adding up. Respectfully, of course. Respectfully. And the only way for him to, convince me or any other wealthy Jamaican that it's adding up, he has to prove it. He has to be certified. His statutory declaration has to be certified. It cannot be left uncertified. He shouldn't even be on the ballot. You shouldn't be on the ballot. You know what I mean? Share how you're doing. Big up yourself.
Many persons like himself. And no doubt the IC is going to come up with another report by the end of this month, their final report for the year. And I'm sure we're going to still have persons under investigation for illicit enrichment who will be offering themselves up for political office, and nobody will know who they are, because you're going to hear that there's a gag order, and those who are being investigated, who know that they are being investigated, are going to say, no, we don't know that we're being investigated. And so they are putting themselves up for office, and the Jamaican people are just blindly supporting persons who are picking their pockets. And if they don't stand up and vote for policies and not personalities. All this noise and this chatter about who is chaka chaka from who is not chaka chaka is not the point, is not the issue.
I really want you guys to focus on that point that you just made. Stop voting personality and vote for policy. What policies do you want in place, or what policies have you heard that resonate with you, the people of Jamaica, wherever you are? Everybody's situation is different. But you see, for me personally, you know which policy resonates with me? The rent to own initiative. As a person that is an entrepreneur, I cannot go to the bank and say, I'll go to my business place. I'm not working for anybody, so I can't go and say, give me a pay stub so I can get a bank statement, so I can go to the bank and try to get a loan. I don't have that. And there's a lot of people in Jamaica that are entrepreneurs that don't have that option either. You can't go to the bank and ask them for your bank statement so you can show us a way, and you can't even get a statement from a workplace. You go to the bank so you can actually borrow some money to start a business or something and grow. A lot of us are in that same category. So what I'm saying is, for me personally, the rent to own initiative and the fact that the land that the home is on, you won't be paying for the land. You'll get the equity of the land itself. That is a great thing for everybody. I mean everybody. And I don't know why she do that. She just pass and do one thing and then I do the other thing. Just disrespectful. You see how people stay? For no reason at all. She could have stayed over the side that even when she wanna say PMP, it was still disrespectful. Can you see me upon the life and I do my thing? You understand? But these people have children, you know. That is body. Anyway, moving right along. So what may I say? The policies, you know, is what you should vote for, not personality. So I'm going to play that again for people in the back. Listen to Daisy Mackenzie and big up Daisy Mackenzie. You know I love and respect you, miss, and I respect your opinion, and you know everything we say resonate and I agree. Listen to what she say, people. Listen.
Just blindly supporting persons who are picking their pockets. And if they don't stand up and vote for policies and not personalities, all this noise and this chatter about who is chaka chaka from who is not chaka chaka is not the point, is not the issue. If you had policies to run on, you wouldn't be describing a person. You wouldn't be. You'd be focused on your policies, your legislations. And the question that I have for somebody like a Desmond McKenzie should never be sitting in the parliament. Never.
True.
And there needs to be an investigation into the 70s leading up to the 80s and what that did to the country and how they sabotaged the country and the violence that they unleashed on the country. And Desmond McKenzie was part and parcel of all of that.
Do this 7 minutes a day and
step further. There needs to be an investigation on these guns that are coming in that specific warehouse in his constituency, and why are we not hearing who is the owner, who is these guns shipped to? Why are we not hearing what is going on with the case? Paul, right, what's going on with that case? You understand? Very important these questions are.
Because it was part and parcel of all of that was taking place. There needs to be this investigation into Eventide. Still, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And you have these people with their checkered past sitting in the parliament, taking away the rights of the Jamaican people, saying that they don't, like the Prime Minister said, we don't want to kill you. What kind of a leader speaks like that to young people? You hear the Prime Minister say, meet your judge, meet your maker. What kind of leadership is that? You hear the National Security Minister say, shoot first and then ask questions. That cannot be how a country is run. And you expect that there's respect. When you hear them, the way they speak on these platforms about their opponents, you expect the students to be respectful of the teachers? No. When you see what Andrew Holness did last year when he walked out of the parliament, basically what he did was he walked out on the Jamaican. Embarrassing! Paying his salary. That's what he did. Everybody takes the Holness did last year when he walked out of the parliament. Basically what he did was he walked out on the Jamaican people. He walked out on the taxpayers that are paying his salary. That's what he did. Everybody takes their cue from that. When you have an Edward Warmington who can get up in the parliament and behave like a skittle, that is where it comes from. Yet they expect the people in the society to behave more civil than they.
That is funny, honey. That's funny. Oh my God, that is funny.
He throwing shots. Stacey said, Desmond McKenzie is moving like a skittle in the parliament. I'm dead, bro.
That is funny, honey. That's funny. Oh my God, that is funny.
Salary. That's what he did. Everybody takes their cue from that. When you have an Edward Warmington who can get up in the parliament and behave like a skittle, that is where it comes from. Yet they expect the people in the society to behave more civil than they who are in the parliament who are.
Mistake. I made a mistake. Everett Warmington, not Desmond McKenzie. When that woman said that, but
drafting legislation and saying to the people, these are the guidelines for you, but these guidelines do not apply to us in the parliament. For thee and not for me. The current situation is untenable. It is untenable. I would like for the government to put forward 5 things that they have done, not something that was started by a previous administration. I don't want to hear about houses built through NH. I'm not talking 5 things, 5 policies, 5 legislations that they implemented as an original thought to help to advance the lives and the welfare of the Jamaican people. Just 5. That's all I'm asking for. 5. Talk on those policies. Talk about those 5 policies. And get out of the personality politics, because personalities is not where it is right now. Policies is where it is, because when you look at the education ministry and what is happening and how they are stealing the money from the education, no wonder the children at Pembroke Hall can't read and write, and what is happening at Pembroke Hall is a microcosm of the problem.
Exactly.
So if you don't come on these platforms and speak the way we do and do our best to hold them accountable, who is going to do it? Somebody has to do it. And it has to be done now. And if not us, who? And if not now, when? But Brother Rattigan, as I pass over to you, please address that corruption indices thing, because people need to understand that what happens locally affects them, happens also internationally. And what happens in international space affects them in local space.
Thank you, Sister Maria, for that wonderful punch from
no, I want to echo that challenge. I'm not saying that there isn't 5 things, but I would love to know the 5 things that the JLP has done in terms of policy, institution, that they originally came up with the idea that is still benefiting Jamaica now. There's a lot of things that the PNP can put forward that they can say, if it was being used the way it was supposed to be used when they initially put it like NHT, it would still be benefiting Jamaica. What institution, what policies have they put in place? What legislation, 5 of them that they have put in place ever, especially this organization that's been there for 9 years. What have they put in place, originated by them? Even the Integrity Commission was drafted by Mark Golding. The man them when I get locked up for weed, Mark Golding. Enough people don't know that. Mark Golding is the one that made that happen. He said, wait a minute, if the USA is gonna do a certain thing with the weed now and it reach a certain level, why is it that we are still locking up people for a split? And the man decriminalized it, the man put it in a legislation. The Integrity Commission Act, Mark Golding. Right, to stem corruption, right? Although Andrew, when he was when he was trying to become prime minister, he was speaking like he was the integrity boss, like he was here to cut down corruption and all of that. But we see the flip flop in that, where it has gone from cutting down corruption to suing the integrity commission. That is a corruption agency. So he's anti-corruption. He's not anti-corruption, he's pro-corruption, and I can say that. That's my opinion. Because why would you sue the Integrity Commission and try to remove the Integrity Commission of that illicit enrichment? Why would you remove impeachment? But anyway, I'm saying, there's 5 legislations. It can be either one, legislation, policy. What have they put in place that stands today that the people of Jamaica is growing from? Jamal, there's so much things you can look to from Michael Manley days till now. Portia, PJ, you have all the things that they put in place that is still being used right now. Even PATH, who make PATH? The PATH program, where them feed the youth them where we need food at their school. A PMP carrying that, you know?
I'm telling you.
Tell me 5 policy where them put in where benefit all of Jamaica. 5 legislation, 5 institution, 5, just 5. I'm echoing that call. I want to hear from the Labour right them to show me facts and evidence on that. No one see. Yes. So that's the first thing right there. First